Hi, my name is Mike Coleman. I'm a developer advocate on the Lightsail team here at Amazon Web Services. And today I'm going to take you through a video that shows you some of the capabilities of Amazon Lightsail. But before we get started, I just wanted to let you know that you don't have to try to do everything at the same time that I'm doing it on the screen. We've got a written guide in the description below that you can go and download, and then after the video, you can go try it all on your own. So let's get started. In this video, I'm going to take you through how to deploy a Django application on an Amazon Lightsail instance. We're going to start here on the Amazon Lightsail homepage, and I'm going to go ahead and click Create Instance to get started. So here we are. The first thing I need to decide is where I want to run my instance. So I can come up here, I can click on this. You can see there are regions across the globe. I'm in Oregon, so I'm going to leave that checked. You should pick a region that's close to where you or your customers are. Next, I'm going to scroll down and choose the Django blueprint. Now, the Django blueprint has everything I need already installed to run my Django applications. It has Python, virtualenv, Django, all of that. So we'll select that. Then we'll come down and we'll choose how much we want to pay for our instance. Instance price is determined by the number of CPUs, the amount of RAM, the amount of disk storage, and the amount of data throughput. I'm going to use the $5 instance. We'll leave that set. I'll give my instance a name here, and then I'll go ahead and click Create Instance. Now it's going to take a couple of minutes for that instance to be up and running. So while that's happening, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and we'll resume when the instance is up and running. Okay, the instance is up and running, and the thing we need to do now is we need to go in and install our application. So we'll do that by starting an SSH session into the box by clicking this icon here. And that's going to open a terminal window on our Django instance. And so here we are at the command line. Our instance is based on the Bitnami Django blueprint, and Bitnami has a very specific directory structure they use. So the first thing we need to do is change into the directory that holds our Django projects. So we'll do that here. That's change directory, opt Bitnami apps, Django, Django projects. So let's change into that. And then we're going to go ahead and run Django and do a starter project. Run a starter project here. So we'll do Django, admin, we'll do a starter project, and we'll call it tutorial. Now I made a mistake here, let me back up. I forgot the period between Django admin and pi, so I'll back up here and I'll fix that. And then we'll hit enter and create the project. Okay, so from there clear the screen. Now we're going to come in and we're going to make a directory called tutorial, which will house our app. And we're going to do a Python manage.py, and we're going to create the app. And we're going to call that Hello World. If I can spell world, there we go. Okay, so now we've got the scaffolding for our project set up. So let's go clear the screen. And then we're going to go into our Hello World directory and actually work on our application. So let's go ahead and first look at the views.py file. We're going to delete this content, and all we're going to do is set up a simple view that if someone hits the root of our web server, we're going to respond with Hello World. So that's what you see here on the screen. So we'll save that out. And the next thing we need to do is we need to write our file for the URLs, the urls.py. So let's go ahead and we'll open up VI again, and we'll run VI on urls.py. And we'll just paste in here, basically telling it when it hits the URL to respond with that views file we just created. Okay, so now let's go up into the tutorials directory, where our main project is housed, and let's go ahead and edit the URLs.py for the project, and let's do a couple things in here. The first thing we need to do is come down here and include the include package. So we're going to import that. Import path, include. And then what we need to do is we need to reference that URLs file that we just created for that specific application. So we'll add a statement here under URL patterns to do that. And we'll write that out. And now our application has been installed and largely configured. So with that, let's head back to the Lightsail console and do a couple things over there real quick. So what we need to do first is we need to go into the Lightsail firewall for this instance, and we need to modify it to open up port 8000. So I'm going to click on the name of the instance, Then I'm going to click on networking. Then I'm going to go in and I'm going to click add rule, and I'm going to add a rule for port 8000 because that is the application port that our Hello World app will be using. So I'll click create and we'll move on from there. Now, what I need to do is I need to grab the IP address for this instance. And what I need to do is I need to modify my Django settings file for that app to let it know that it can communicate on this port, or excuse me, on this IP. So let me grab this, and then I'm going to open up an SSH session back into my instance, and I'm going to then go in and I'm going to edit the settings.py file and add that in under allowed hosts. So we'll come over here, move back into that projects directory that we were using earlier. All right, now I need to edit that file, settings.py. And like I said, I'm looking for allowed hosts, which is down there. And we're going to scroll down to that line, and we're just going to insert the IP address of our Lightsail instance, allowing that instance to run this application. And write the file out and save it. Now what we can do is we can actually run the application using the run server command. Now, this isn't something you would do in production. In production, you would configure Apache to host this application, but since we're just doing a getting started here, we're just going to make it simple, and we're going to go ahead and just run the built-in Django server. So Python 3, manage.py, we're going to do run server, we're going to tell it to do it on this current address, port 8000, and we'll hit enter, and we should see everything come up and running. So the development server is running. If I come back here, grab that IP address again, just to make sure I have the right one, come up here into another tab in my browser, and we click in there, and away we go. There's our application, Hello World, just as we expected. So, as I mentioned before, that's a development server's running there. What you'd want to do as a next step is take that application and get it hosted in the built-in Apache server, which is actually running in that instance right now. That's all it is to get the Django application running inside of the Lightsail instance. For more information on Lightsail, go ahead and check out aws.amazon.com/Lightsail.